everyone, welcome back to the channel Glopin. Today I am in Chengdu, and this is also my very first time in Chengdu, so I want to show you some must visits in this beautiful city. And what would you think of when it comes to Chengdu? Pandas, right? So this is where we're gonna start, the Chengdu research base of giant pandas breeding. So this is a whole world of pandas. So let's start from here and have a look inside. So as you can see, most of the time they're just eating, pooing, and sleeping. So that's the wonderful day, right?
There are several places where you can see pandas in Chengdu and its surrounding areas. The Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding is the one that we highly recommend because it is the largest amongst them, covering an area of over 2,300 square kilometers. Around the world, there are in total 2,459 pandas, including 1,864 in the wild. Only more than 700 are under human care. Amongst them, more than 200 are in this research center. Around 10 baby cubs are born here each year, within these 3 nursery rooms. Moreover, it is relatively close to the urban area of Chengdu, making it very suitable for tourists to visit. The most famous panda, Huahua, also lives in this space. She is so popular that you can see her on social media all the time. There is an endless stream of tourists coming to see her, usually having to wait for more than 2 hours. However, each panda has their own features, such as this one named Gongzai, is the prototype of the Kung Fu Panda movie. Here you can see them climbing, eating, fighting, and even pooing, which is really hilarious.
Now, besides the giant pandas, there's also an area dedicated to the red pandas. So, can you see it here? Actually, pandas prefer the cold weather rather than the warm weather. So during the summertime, they would be in these air-conditioned rooms. Now, another must-visit in Chengdu is Sanxingdui Museum. This is a mysterious place. It tells a very exciting history about this place, and let's have a look inside. So once you come into the Sanxingdui Museum, the first thing you want to do is to either hire a guide or to rent a device that comes with different languages. There's French, English, Russian. I think those devices could really help you to understand here. The other option, of course, is to use your WeChat app to scan the QR code. But of course, if you don't have WeChat yet in China, that would not work.
Sanxingdui is a renowned ancient true civilization site in Chengdu, dating back approximately 3,000 to 5,000 years. Its extraordinary site stands as undeniable proof that a civilization once thrived beyond the Yangtze River civilization, a culture so rich, so enigmatic, that it rewrites history itself. Unearthed from the depth of the past, its peculiar bronze artifacts, shimmering golden masks, and vast ivory troves whisper of a forgotten world, where sacred rituals and artistic mastery flourished in ways never before imagined. These discoveries challenge the long-held belief that the Central Plains were the sole cradle of Chinese civilization, revealing instead a vibrant, interconnected past that defies conventional narratives.
Can you imagine that this was created in 1300 BC, more than 3,000 years ago? These strange portraits are really fascinating. I mean, they look really strange. I don't think it's really something that's similar to what human beings look like at that time. Now, behind me is one of the most famous pieces in this museum, and everybody is guessing what were in his hands. Well, what do you think?
This bronze standing statue, which is 2.63 meters tall, is the treasure of the Sanxingdui Museum. It is the tallest and most intact bronze figure statue in existence, and is known as the king of bronze statues in the world. Its mysterious appearance, with its high crown on the head, splendid attire, and hands clipped in a ring shape, along with the unsolved mysteries in the academic community regarding its identity and the objects it held, has aroused great interest among the public. Every day it attracts 15,000 tourists who come to visit it out of admiration.
This magnificent artifact behind me is the most valuable piece in this whole museum, and it is also one of the very few artifacts that are not allowed to be exhibited outside of China. Now, on the second floor of the museum is an area for kids to really understand, to learn, and to experiment different things here. Now, in this video, you probably only see a couple of minutes of our clips of the Sanxingdui Museum. However, I've spent about almost 4 hours to really observe these masterpieces. And if you really come here, you probably spend the same amount of time. The most amazing part of this whole site about Sanxingdui is that many archaeology sites around the world, the more you dig, the more information you have, and the more things you discover. But here in Sanxingdui, people say that you actually have more myth and have more wonders, and people are more confused about this culture because of the fact that there is no written language, there is no written documents about this civilization, and that's what makes it really fascinating. So you just have to come and visit. So now we're at our next stop, the Dujiangyan irrigation system. This is again another must-visit that is more than an hour drive from the Chengdu city. Here is the world's oldest irrigation system, built over 2,000 years ago, and it is still functioning today, benefiting the millions of people living in Sichuan province. So let's check it out. Now, on our way to the irrigation system, on this road, you can see the statues of those who have contributed to this complex. Most of them are the governors who have contributed to the building and the maintenance of this system. Now we're at Wuhou Temple. Wuhou means controlling the dragon. This is because in the ancient times, people didn't really understand science. So they thought that the person who have controlled the waters are the people that had controlled the dragons. And that's why the irrigation systems works. So how does the complex irrigation system actually works? This over 2,000 year system is really amazing. It's a genius idea. Let me show you here. So first of all, you see this map here. This is how the water flows, right? And this is where the water is split for the first time. Now, how does it work actually? It's shown here. You see here that on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, the depth of the river is not the same. This makes sure that when it's in summer, when there's a lot of water, 60% goes into the left-hand side and only 40% goes to the right-hand side. And here, when there's not a lot of water, for example, during winter, this is vice versa. 60% goes to the right-hand side, which goes to the Sichuan plains, or you can say goes to the city of Chengdu. Now and then, the water is split again a second time here. And this time it not only just splits the water, but it also cleans the water. By this flow here, it actually removes all the sand and keeps the sand here, and only the clean water goes into the Baopingkou. And that's a really amazing thing if you think about it. This was built 2,300 years ago. Now, if you think about it, more than 2,000 years ago, there were no heavy machinery, there was no concrete, there were just manual labor. And how do they build such an irrigation system? Of course, they could not build a dam to just block the water, right? So they just changed the flow of the water. But still, more than 2,000 years ago, there were no explosives. So how do you actually change the geographics? How do you alter the shape of the mountains and the water flows. So at that time, they come up with this brilliant idea to burn the mountain, to burn the rocks, the huge rocks, and afterwards pour water immediately onto it. So because of that temperature difference, the stone would break up, the stone would explode themselves. And that's how slowly they could really make this whole irrigation system work. Now behind me, this ancient road is called the Songmao Ancient Road. It is part of the very famous Tea Horse Road, also part of the ancient Silk Road.
Songmao Ancient Road starts from Dujiangyan and ends at the ancient city of Maoxian County. With a total length of more than 320 kilometers, it was used as early as the Three Kingdoms period and once served as the major transportation artery, bustling with merchants. Now, we have arrived at the Kuanzhai alleys, which are very popular online. They are large-scale and relatively well-preserved ancient streets and alleys from the Qing dynasty in Chengdu. Though the area is quite commercialized and filled with highly homogeneous shops, souvenirs, and snacks that are more expensive than usual. If you happen to pass by, you can drop by and take a look. Personally, I would recommend Wenshu Monastery more.
So if you want to know where local people go, instead of the Kuanzhai Alley, they come here more often, which is called the Wenshu Monarchy. Local people come here to take photos. Some Chinese tourists also come here for photos, for snacks, for food. So I'll show you around as well as the monarchy inside.
Wenshu Monastery is a historical site with more than 1,400 years of history. It is a key Buddhist temple nationwide and a major cultural relic under provincial level protection in Sichuan province. The buildings in the monastery feature the typical architecture style of Asian structures on the western Sichuan plain, all made of wood. When you step inside, you will see the antique old buildings of western Sichuan with the rusty wooden structure, exuding a strong charm. There are more than 300 solemn Buddha statues and the Surya of Xuanzang's skull. The treasure of the monastery is even more mysterious. Whether you come here in search for tranquility or to explore history, Wenshu Monastery is a highly recommended place.
Now we're at a very interesting place. It's called the Cuisine Museum, the Cuisine Museum. Now if you have traveled all around the world, you will realize that Cuisine is not only spread across the whole of China, but already across the whole world. So let's find out what is really interesting about Cuisine. Now here it showcases the different types of techniques to cook food. There's like stir fry, there's fried, there's steam, etc. And there's so many of them, right? And they don't even have an English version of this table. Why? Because I'm pretty sure that they cannot really translate that. Now, I just had a chat with the staff here, and she told me that actually the time I came now is really a not very popular time. Most people, like local people, come here during lunchtime to enjoy food because food is for free. And here you can just sit down, relax, drink tea, play mahjong or play other poker with your friends. And for all of that, you only need to pay 60 RMB, which is like 80 euros, 80 euros. And there's a lot of local people come here very often. That's really interesting because I thought that this is a kind of a touristy place. Now, before coming to Chengdu, everybody recommended me to come to People's Park, which is where I am now. But before I came, I was wondering what's so special about a park. And even the local tourist guides recommended to come here to really embrace into the local spirit, the local culture. And once you're here, you really understand that. Which means they really enjoy life, enjoy their time, And even though Chengdu is a huge city, the pace is completely different compared to the cities I live in, Shanghai, or the cities I often go to like Hangzhou or Shenzhen. So let me show you around. And even though today is a work day, it's actually a Tuesday, but you can see so many people, young and old, enjoying their time here. It's really amazing. Well, of course, within the park, there's also an area for kids to enjoy the time while the parents can relax.
Geographically speaking, Chengdu is located in the southwest region of China and serves as an important hub connecting the inland areas to the Tibetan regions. The convenient transportation has made it possible for Tibetan compatriots to come and go frequently. Hence, there are many Tibetan shops like these on the streets of Chengdu.
Another very popular tourist attraction amongst Chinese is the Fu Thatched Cottage. Fu is a very popular poet. He has written over 240 poems here and called the Sag of Poetry. Now, behind me is the modest cottage that Fu used to live in. Let's have a closer look.
Du Fu was a great realistic poet in the Tang Dynasty of China and was respectively called the poet Sag. His poems deeply reflect the social upheaval and the sufferings of the common people at that time. His poetic style is solemn and stirring, full of profound humanistic care. In 759 AD, Du Fu, who had a rough political career and endured many wars, moved his whole family to Chengdu after many hardships. With the help of his relatives and friends, he built a thatched cottage by the Huahua Brook, which is the Du Fu Thatched Cottage we see today. During the next nearly 4 years, Du Fu created more than 200 poems here.
Now we are now at Wuhou, another must-visit in Chengdu city. This is dedicated to Zhuge Liang, the strategist in the Third Kingdoms. Now he was the emperor consul of Liu Bei, or nowadays you can say that he is the prime minister of Liu Bei. And he was so famous that even nowadays his strategy is still studied in MBA classes. So let's have a look inside. Now there's a lot of history background within the Wuhou Shrine. So if you really want to understand it, I will really recommend to read the Three Kingdoms or to hire a guide so that they can guide you through the whole complex. Now, for example, if you look around me, behind me is the governors of the Liu Bei Emperor. And then on this side are the generals of the Liu Bei Emperor. And in front of me on this side is Liu Bei himself. So this temple was built to commemorate these three brothers. In the middle, that is Liu Bei. On the right-hand side, that is Guan Yu, second brother. And on the left-hand side, that is Zhang Fei, the third brother. These are some themes, some stories within the Third Kingdom.
A very interesting story is that the name of Wuhou Shrine originates from Zhuge Liang's noble title, instead of the Emperor Liu Bei. However, here you can see Liu Bei's tomb, as well as the ancestral halls of Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei, the three sworn brothers. And the ancestral hall dedicated to Zhuge Liang is just located behind that of Emperor Liu Bei. So why is it still called the Wuhou Shrine? This is the only ancestral temple in the whole of China where the monarch and his ministers are worshipped together. Since Zhuge Liang was deeply loved by the local people, it has long been referred to as the Wuhou Shrine, and this name has been passed down till today.
Now this is actually the tomb of Liu Bei. It looks really simple, right? Compared to other emperors in China, this is a really simple tomb because actually he only prepared 2 years after he became the emperor So there's actually not much inside. One of the stories about Zhuge Liang is actually how he was invited to join Liu Bei. Actually, Liu Bei is 20 years older than Zhuge Liang, but in order to attract such a talent to join him, he visited Zhuge Liang 3 times. And only after the 3rd time, Zhuge Liang decided to join Liu Bei and to support him to build his own empire. Now, right besides Wuhou is Jingli, a commercial area that has been here for more than 2,000 years. So let's go inside. So after walking outside of Wuhou, you'll see that this street, this famous commercial street with a lot of snacks and food that you can choose from. Here there are so many delicious food, and especially over the night, you'll see many people here eating, drinking, and enjoying their time. Now, Sichuan is famous for its spicy food. So here, be very careful what you pick and choose and what you eat here, because a lot of stuff will be spicy. But nevertheless, give it a try. Now, while you are in Chengdu, of course, one thing that you can't miss is the face-changing performances. Of course, in Chengdu, there are so many places that you can watch it, and it can be as cheap as $5. But today, we are going to a very professional one. Behind me is the Sichuan province Chuan Opera Theater. And let's see how the professionals perform.
Sichuan opera is one of the traditional Chinese opera genres popular in Sichuan province, Chongqing municipality, and some parts of Guizhou and Yunnan provinces, with a history of over 300 years. It has a rich variety of plays, and its performances are delicate and vivid. The most distinctive feature of Sichuan opera is face changing, an excellent stunt in Sichuan opera performances. Actors can quickly change their facial makeup in less than a second, which makes people dazzled. Through ingenious coordination of movements, not only can it show the ups and downs of the characters' emotions and their personality changes, but also add a mysterious and fantastic touch to the performance, becoming a shining business card of Sichuan opera.
So now we come to our very last spot in Chengdu this time. Behind me is Anshan Corridor Bridge. It is a beautiful bridge lighted up during the night. And on my right-hand side behind me is the Jiuyan Bridge. And in between those 2 bridges, you have a lively neighborhood of nightlife. There's KTVs, there's bars, and there's a lot of things that you can do over the night. So that's it for our video today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you do come to Chengdu, feel free to contact us, or feel free to contact us if you come to any city in China. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on our next video.